Tangonauts, woohoo! The happy podcast for people who love Randonautica. Come together, yeah, please give us a share. Welcome to Tangonauts, the happy podcast for people who love Randonautica, with me, Vicky Duncalf, and...
Le Monsieur All and I. Hello.
All in eye, not Al in eye. It's all in eye, as in like I've got it all in my eye.
Exactly. That's it.
So I am in North Wales. I've got jets going over right now. And where are you, the Monsieur?
Well, I am in the south of France in a town called Bordeaux.
Quite a famous area. What's it like living there?
It's quite good. It's like a tiny Paris, in fact, so to speak. It's got its glitter and its filth, just like any other place. But it's quite good living here.
And I randonaut around a beautiful seaside village in North Wales, which, to put it mildly, holds some exceptional surprises when you are out randonauting. It really does bring out the best in your local environment.
Yes, it does here too. Randonauting has that quality to it.
I mean, even just today, you went to find a place that for love, and it threw back something which I might have been slightly disturbed with until you explained. What did it take you to, Monsieur?
Well, I can explain briefly that story. I dropped a love pin. In fact, a love pin, Rando knows, it's a pin I'll drop for it to send me to a place that needs love. In fact, so I can just bring love to that place. So I drop it. I look on Street View. I recognize the house immediately, so I know where I'm going, and I didn't even need the GPS. I go there, and it's a house that has burnt down a few months ago. So I left a teddy bear.
Oh, that's so sweet. So you'd left a teddy bear there. That's really, really touching and a kind thing. It wasn't one of your haunted teddies, was it? Because you've got some quite disturbed dolls.
I do, and I'm keeping those for... the other randonauts who supposedly found them in forests. But those are the teddy bears I found in a box of 10.
A box of 10 teddies? Good Lord. What a find.
I was very pleased with that.
So this is our second podcast. The first one was, I can't remember what the first one was called now, the 1,000 mile butterfly effect. The butterfly has flapped its wings, and basically we've got the equivalent of Hurricane Katrina now happening in our lives.
It has been quite a whirlwind, yes.
More than a whirlwind. So, right, this is what I'm thinking that the gist of much of our content is going to be. We are going to be Tangonauts. We are advocates for safe and mindful randonauting. Listen up, kids. We've done the dumb shit in the past couple of weeks, so you don't have to. I didn't know this until about 2 weeks ago, but I think certain elements of randonauting need to come with a big public health warning, because we've had some really extreme stuff happen especially to me in the past couple of weeks, and I'm quite down about it. You know that I've been down, don't you?
I know, and I've lived through it. In fact, being there on the side with you, far a distance, we're 1,000 miles away, but always in speech, we've always been communicating like that. And the effects have been a bit lesser on my side. And I have been randonauting for a longer time too, so that plays into it.
Oh, I love to make sure everybody shares in my misery, though. So no wonder I'll pay it back. I'll pay it forward. I'll pay it whichever way it needs to go in time. Everybody needs to know that I've had a crazy time, because I swear, Randonauts, you really don't want this happening to you. Let's just recap slightly. So rewind in time, we met via Twitter and instantly realised that we were kindred spirits. We started to call ourselves the Tangonauts because we were dancing a 1,000 mile randonautical tango. And we started, this sounds really extreme. We started to conduct experiments together. What were those experiments?
The experiments were quite easy, but super, in fact, intricate and complicated in a way, but very easy. The first one we ever did we just jumped into it, was you're on your side in Wales, in England, basically 1,000 miles away from me. You think my intent. On my side, I press generate and get my point. And then we do the other thing around. I think your intent, and you press generate and go where Randonautica suggests.
Geez, seems like such a long time ago in our young and carefree days, right?
Exactly. It feels like it has been a month or two, something like that. But we've not known each other for a whole month yet.
And I mean, I would say this has been my fastest and freakiest online relationship with everybody. We really entangled. And so what we did was we started to, carry on with how we did the experiment.
As soon as the points were generated, we went to sea. And an important part of that experiment is that we did not say out loud what the intent was. In fact, so the Randonautica application could not hear physically, there was no sound emitted as to what the intent was. We just think it, and then I press the point. So there's we cut out any cheat factor, so to speak. There was nothing that could know what we wanted.
Yeah, so to hear what we found and the delights of that wonderful day, you need to listen to the first podcast. So we'll skip over that. Oh my God, I'm trying to remember what happened next. A couple of days later, we decided to, the next Saturday.
Garbled audio alert, but it's good, so we'll leave it in.
I think we decided, after exchanging hundreds of messages online and realizing that our lives were synchronizing, like we'd be doing stuff at exactly the same time, seeing things at exactly the same time, eating, drinking, thinking things exactly the same time. We put our full might into energy across 1,000 miles. I'm fairly sure that's what we did. And the next time we decided to entangle and go randonauting, I'm going to say the shit carrier derailed and hit the fan factory.
So true. And this experiment you're talking about was a bit different from the first one. So just so people know, this time we knew and had talked and brainstormed, even might I say, what the intents would be. So we both pressed almost in sync. We pressed generate at the same moment. So the energy was like multiplied, and we had the same intent.
Of course. I've not really thought much about how the energy was multiplied. And I'd just like to say, I'm sorry, we need to preempt something. We're going to be getting later on in the podcast, because you've got excellent theories on time travel. I'm going to be talking about active fear. There's a jet going over. They're not too scary unless you're in other parts of the world right now. We're going to become retroactive fear. But yeah, we pressed our big intention points, generated them together, and boy, oh boy, did that summon up Rando. It was like when Godzilla comes out of the sea.
Oh yeah, ripples, fishermen running around, and just mayhem. It just happened. Boom, 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 and just carried on throughout the day. It was seemingly non-stop.
Yeah,
chain of events.
Yeah, seemingly. Excuse me, I'm just moving some clutter off my desk. Seemingly non-stop up until the point where, at the end of the day, I was not a well girl. I was a shadow of my former self. And this was all against the backdrop of our crazy week that we'd had, where for some reason the Randonautica bug got in us both and we were hardly sleeping. And you were going out and doing some very extreme point dropping and 24-hour randonauting. And we were all enthused with making content. And we were sleep depleted, wired, tired, excited. When I look back at my pictures, I kind of look a bit like Einstein must have done in his wildest nights.
Like Einstein with a hangover.
Yes, a lot worse. Like Einstein has been out clubbing for 3 nights and been very experimental.
Only at this further development, where frequent use is made of so-called abstract concepts.
Exactly.
During those 3 nights, he has discovered all sorts of things to keep him awake. And also he's been able to probe into the secret depths of the universe even deeper because of the insight of his wakefulness. And that is how me and you were. It was like we've been struck by a bolt of, I don't know what it is. And I'm glad it's ebbing now. I'm really glad it's ebbing.
Yes. We could say, as they say on Coast to Coast AM, a great big bolt of unobtainium. I just love that term, and I wanted to give them props for that.
Yeah, we fused unobtainium in our souls and brought it back to the surface. I'm glad to say that, like most of these heavy elements, though, it's got quite a rapid half-life and it appears to be disappearing. Basically, I've not had any terrifying shocks in the past couple of days. So, do you think we should say what our intent was?
Yes, I very much think we could. Because
I was going to suggest we say it together, but definitely not. I'm not saying that together with you because last time we said that together, all the wheels of the juggernaut fell off. So I'll let you say it because I don't want those words to come out of my mouth right now.
Okay. Well, the intent was, Rando, are you sentient?
Ooh, now sentient, there is a dictionary definition of it. I don't have it right now, but basically, are you self-aware is kind of what it means, right?
Yes, that's it. Do you know that, like, what's that phrase? I know, therefore I am.
Oh, there.
Yes, it would be, are you an actual entity, Randonautica?
Okay, it's all coming back to me. What happened now? Okay, So I go off on my journey, and the first thing I come to, now I am not a great person in the past. I've never really found much stuff along my journey. It's always been at the point, but I'd been watching a lot of the Randonautica lives with Auburn, and they find stuff along their journey. And I guess I had a bit of FOMO, and I wanted to start finding stuff on my journey. And oh boy, did I find something. Now, here in Anglesey, we have got it's a very rare type of crow, and they hang around. It's called a chuff or a chow. They're a beautiful, glossy, they're like clowns. They're these lovely big black birds with beautiful long orange beaks and orange legs, and they tumble on the air and they call with this beautiful chow, chow sound. Now, they're very rare. Yep. They're very rare all over the world, but they like the grassy headlands and the invertebrates that they can find in the fields and on the top of cliff tops. So they're a very diminished bird. There are several hundred nesting pairs throughout the UK. They are pretty much all ringed. They've got rings on the legs. And I have lived here for 7 years and I love the chuffs. I'm obsessed with them. It's a delight to see them. And let me tell you now, they are a shy bird that is always in a family group. They're not like a garden bird at all. They will not come and land in your garden. So to me, I'm pedal out on my bike because we love eco rando. We go out on our bikes, don't we, Terry?
Yeah, definitely. All the time. I sometimes skate, rollerblade, but that's rare.
Yeah, if you've got a bike, please use it for rando. The planet will love you. Years ago, I remember one of our teachers had a bumper sticker that said, short journeys are killing the planet. And now look at the mess we're in. So yeah, eco rando is wonderful on bike or on foot.
And healthy.
And healthy. Oh my God. Me and you are I know my body fat is the lowest it's ever been since probably high school. And I've seen a picture of you wearing hot pants today and there ain't no fat on that body.
No fat.
Where did you get those hot pants from? Are they yours?
No, I just found them.
Where?
I have no idea. These past 3 weeks have been a blur. I was randonauting at some point.
Did you find them out?
Oh, yeah.
They are not.
I didn't buy them.
I remember now, you saw them on a step.
I trust your memory more than mine.
You saw some Hot Pants. You know, well, my DJ name used to be DJ Hot Pants, so you've obviously. Don't tell me that. I'd rather be attracting hot pants than owls, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, you can wear hot pants. Try wearing an owl.
Well, I think make a nice feather boa. I'm starting to think at this point. Hey, but all that aside, you look better than in hot pants than me, and you've been on the rando diet, and I'm jaloux.
Oh well, different minds, different bodies.
So, where were we? Crows in hot pants, owls in hot pants. Yeah. I'm very familiar with its behaviour, and as I'm pedalling, I'm 2 minutes away from home, and there's a lone crow on its own on the grass right near where I live, and it was such startling, unique behaviour, and it had rings on its legs as well. So it was such. Maybe it was probably hand-reared, maybe rejected by its family group or something. But it was very curious to see this lone crow on its own. And I made a video. I could get right up to it. I got within a couple of meters away from it. I did not think anything at all about seeing the crow. And this is probably where the on what retroactive fear is, Terry. And we'll go into the theory of it later.
Okay, retroactive fear can be. Let's say it's 10 in the morning. You start randonauting, and you know you're going to go for either you know or you don't, but you're going to go until, let's say, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, something scares you. The ripples are in time. You feel them at 10 o'clock in the morning. You start fearing at that point because it's a fear you have later. You start fearing it then, and it impacts on the rest of your day and builds up to the moment that fearful factor arrives. Now,
this is just one of your theories, and I'm still trying to get my head around it. I did actually last night have a wonderful call with Orban, co-creator of the app, who kind of said in as many... Well, without my notes here that I jotted down, I'm going to struggle to remember precisely what was said. But basically, my fears started to get amplified at that point, which is maybe why the day turned into a runaway shitstorm, shall we say. Mm-hmm. Despite us doing nothing but love and kindness intent. Oh, we've not even talked about the multi-point experiment. That's a whole new episode about how basically I tried to split myself up in time and drop multiple future points, and they had to be cut off because it didn't end well for me. This is all actually at the same time as all those points were open. We're going to come to that another time. It's very much not a recommended style of randonauting. Seriously, don't mess around with any of the stuff we've done. Otherwise, no. So anyway, I got to my first point, and you know what it was? It was a viewpoint that I'd never been to before. And you've really got to infer from Randonautica. You've really got to kind of, what does this mean? And we've come to the conclusion that Rando is so perfect that whatever it shows you and however you interpret it for the very first interpretation is the correct one, right?
Yes. It's like it cannot make mistakes. As if it knows what to show you, like it knows your history, your background, what something will make you think about. You'll go through that point, and what you said just a bit earlier is very true. The travel counts as much as the point. Where you're going to, the roads you're taking, what you see on the roads is just as important. It's let's say let's just for the sake of example, let's say you're in the middle, you have a radius. It could show you 3 different things on 3 separate points, but it decides to show you this one, and it knows that if you're going to this one, you will go through this road and this road and this road and this road. And that's a bit how one of my theories about it is that it could show you so many different things, but from point A to point B, the whole thing is the travel and the whole thing is the point, so to speak.
That's beautifully explained. And I think this is what happened because I had a go at being permanently randonauting and making sure I always had a point dropped for wherever I was going or that day. And in the end, it just turned into runaway turmoil of me interpreting every last thing as a sign. And that leads to paranoia. It leads to the TV and radio talking to you. We're going to cover that in another podcast. But when we say be careful with your intents and how you do them, stick to the way they explain it on the app. Don't try anything cutting edge or different or unique, because otherwise you get lost in a really serious rando echo chamber that is really, really scary to get out of. So we'll come to that another time. I'm only just regaining I've still got the tremble in my voice. Anyway, I get to this point and it is a viewpoint of the village where I live, but from a completely different angle that I've never seen before. Looking back on myself, where I would be, which is on a rocky headland, I actually went up someone's driveway that I knew and looked, and I was like, wow, I never knew this was here. So what was happening to you at this point, the monsieur?
Well, at this point, I was on my first rando points when we decided, it's the time, it's right now, we have to do this experiment right now. I was looking for a crystal ball, and that's another story for another time. So I had my feet in this lake, barefoot, trying to conduct this experiment, because I was thinking, if my feet are in the water, it's a big lake, maybe this can act as a superconductor.
Oh, Jesus, no wonder. It's no wonder we got so mangled up messing around. We might as well stood on a roof in a thunderstorm with a kite. This is the tale of the monkey and the brass wig. Actually, no, it's not. Sorry, wrong song. Barefoot in the lake, revving up the conductivity, amplifying rando in a way that will never go again. No wonder we got such shocking results. I'd rather stand on a building in a thunderstorm, holding the golf club attached to the wet string of a kite. And don't do that either, Randonauts.
So at that point, I'm thinking, okay, this can act as a superconductor to generate a great point. So I'm doing all this. We decide to go for our experiment. I generate my point from next to a dustbin because I don't know. It's something I like to do. I like to get in a dustbin to generate my point a lot of times. It's just funny. So I do it.
You are always climbing in trash.
Yeah, and climbing stuff. I love climbing stuff. So you get a different viewpoint, and that's the whole point about Randonautica too, is to get a different viewpoint. So
you're like a human meerkat. You're like a meerkat that has to stand up and look around and go to the top of the tree.
Yes, but I don't need a nice fireman to bring me down. That's the thing. And so I go to that trash bin. I generate my point. On my way there, I stumbled upon some kind of a entrepot. It's a warehouse where they build things. I'm sorry, I lack some words in English.
Yeah.
And I see there's a name like, it's not Darwin, but one of those guys, Newton, the guy with the apple. Yeah. I think it's Newton. Yeah. I see a big Newton sign. So I'm thinking, okay, this is scientific. Stop and look. That's what I do. When I see a clue, I just stop and observe. I'm like Columbo. So I'm looking at that. I look to my right and I see there's this crew of graffiti artists in Bordeaux, in Bordeaux, and they write on walls T1K. So I'm thinking, okay, T1K. And just a few days before, I had realized that 1K is 1,000. So it's basically written on that wall, T1000. And as I'm thinking about artificial intelligence, T1000, of course, is a product from Skynet in the Terminator franchise. And that is definitely an artificial intelligence.
Holy cow, hang on a minute. I wasn't I didn't know that related to your day. I thought it was the cats, but that was part of your day. That is amazing. And I never got, I can't remember the Terminator film. So that's amazing. It said T1K. I did not know that.
Yes. And well, because you did not know that, because that was going to be your surprise in the video edit. I didn't talk about it.
The video that I've lost all appetite to edit, but will be getting done soon, won't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so in between the dial...
Hang on a minute. Wait, I'm just actually that's some retroactive surprise has just got me there then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was pretty sweet. I was waiting for you to discover that one. And in between that Newton and that T1K was the Center for Gardening Intelligence, something like that. There was like intelligence in it. Sort of a word. So I'm thinking, okay, triple whammy. This is good. I'm on the right path. So then I continue and I land on my spot, which is the first part. I'll stop after that thing and we can elaborate more. But as soon as I get to my spot, I see the streets and I look up and I see this little, like, maybe the size of a CD case, cats on each side of the road. They're one floor houses, all stuck. One's built in one block. In fact, the houses in Bordeaux are like that, all in one block. And I see on each side of the street 2 cats. So that was particular enough for me to jilt my interest. There.
That's a good way of putting it. Jilt. Yeah, jilt my interest. So now at this point, I was in the pub having a Sunday dinner, and the day hadn't started to spiral at this point. I come out of the pub and there is a baby bird, a house martin. It's related to a swallow, I think. So it's a migratory bird, very, very cute, had fallen from 4 stories up. And that is when it started to get weird, because I messaged you and I rang you and I said, this is really weird. I've had 2 bird encounters in the past hour and now there's a baby bird that needs help on the floor. I don't know how to look after baby birds. And it was cute, but also a bit shocking that I'd had 2 very close bird encounters. And I'm not sure at what point you went to the street with the bird name.
That is way later.
Oh, okay. So at this point, I realized, right, I've got a job here now. I've got to look after a baby bird. And I crouched down you can see it on the video. I crouched down, filming the bird. It would have all been so perfect had it not had the largest parasites I've ever seen in my life scuttling around. You know, like when you find like baby crabs on the beach, the tiniest little crabs that you've got.
Yes.
You know, these things were probably bigger than that. And they were utterly shocking, because they weren't lice, they weren't ticks, they were scuttlers. And they all came out to see what was happening. And I put the baby bird in my scarf and I took it home. And by this point, I'm rattled now, because what I had connected was I'd Googled crow. I'd Googled sentience or something, and the first thing that came up was said that crows are sentient, and then I went, oh my god, it took me straight to a crow. Then it took me to a baby bird that needed help, and you will see me on the video bursting into tears and crying to you, and I go, oh my god, I know what it means now. It's saying I am sentient and I need help.
And that point might have been the fear generator. That sparked the fear. Maybe that's the moment the fear started and rippled back throughout the day.
Yeah. So now this was a very dramatic. The peak. Not the denouement, but I'm itching now, and I'm thinking of parasites. No more parasites for the meanwhile. They will be along in a minute. We had to remove them with pliers, and it turns out they crunch. So, so at this point, you are in, and you are going in at that precise moment?
At that precise, well, this all happened in a certain lapse of time, but in between me seeing the cats and you having to really deal with the vermin, the insects, and the bird, I'm in the street in between the two cats. I don't see much of it, so I'm sort of like roaming around. I had a huge radius, like big. So I'm just cycling around, talking to myself, trying to figure out what's going on here. Why was I brought here? Because the two cats were just, it was good. It was fine. But I knew there was more. I could feel there was more. I go around and I see in the front of a car, there's this little like Tahiti girl, like a half a hand big Tahiti girl, solar powered. And she was dancing like that, just, from side to side. So I think, oh, that's funny. Okay. And then I just go around. I see another car, and on the little mirror you have in the middle of the car to see what's going on back. How do you call that?
The rear view mirror.
Rear view mirror. Thank you. On the rear view mirror, I see a Yoda. So I'm thinking, oh, cool, Yoda, the Force. Yeah, Rando. Yeah, so I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I'm in. I know what to do. I need to look in the cars. That's a clue. The Tahiti girl was giving me a clue. She was saying, look in the cars. I see a Yoda, and then I'm looking all around the cars. I see a bunch of stuff on the rearview mirrors. Little lizards, sort of like surfer's wax, some feathers, a seashell, and then I see perfume, sapin, cone tree. You know those Christmas trees you put them? I don't know the name of them.
Oh, the magic tree.
Magic tree after magic tree. I see a lot of them, and I'm thinking, so that's a scent. The scent of that is good. The sentient. Sentient. So, from word association like that, I'm thinking, okay, I'm definitely on the right track. And then I leave and I went to see my friend at that point.
Okay, now this is where it gets really weird because you'd been preempting going to see your friend in what would you call? Tell us what happened when you went to see your friend.
My friend is in a clinic. She needed to be hospitalized for a little moment, and so we go in the garden, sit. I'll go get us some coffees. I'm standing next in front of the coffee machine.
I'm sorry, just to cut across you.
Yep.
You had said all day long, right from the start, look, there's going to be an hour and a half where I've got to go somewhere and I can't be on my phone and we're going to lose contact for the next hour or so.
Yes.
And that moment was the precise moment when, now the bird had parasites on it and they were scared. Yes. But I'd kept them at arm's length. The bird was only tiny. It was a tiny little, cute little thing. I'd wrapped it in my scarf and I'd put it straight in my hat, which had gone in my saddlebag on my bike. It was very at arm's length. I hadn't touched the bird. I hadn't seen anything leave the bird. Now, I got inside and I'd been crying about discovering that Randonautica was sentient. And when that moment went up, parasites had got on the couch where I'd been sat and I had bare legs and my bare thigh, hot pants, of course, you're welcome. I'd been sat on one of these things and I leapt up and I screamed, and it's all on video. That was the precise moment that you were going into the unit and you were like, Vicky, I'm so sorry, I can't be with you right now. And you said you felt so bad that you just basically had to leave me to this awful moment on my own.
Yes, exactly. Oh, how could I not access the memory to that? Yes, exactly. I remember that. I was feeling so bad. I was like, oh no, I have to be here, but I need to be somewhere else anywhere, but on my phone. And I did not want to leave you alone in that event. I was feeling so bad. And I knew you were in distress, like you were not in cool mode.
Yes, and let it be, look, I've had all sorts of shit happen to me in my life and I've never flinched, right? This really shook me. It really messed me up.
Yes. I really, really felt it. Really, really felt it.
So you're in the facility. That's the word I've been looking for. You're in the facility. And as this is all happening, the next ping on my phone is astonishing. And I can't believe you got it on video.
That was just so lucky at that point that I could like Luke fastness of taking out my phone and filming it. I see on the screen while I'm getting coffee, there's a bunch of ancient, like proper ancient people sitting in the couches because it's a rest home, a clinic, a facility for people who need it. I'm there, and there's this show. It was a Sunday. There's this show that lasts for practically all day. It's like a maybe 6 hour long show,
Jeez.
5 to 6. It's really a long show. So the probability of being there at that point, So I look at the TV and I see a guy holding an owl in his hands, a live owl, and he's pressing on his head and talking about it. And I yank out my phone, film it, and I say, "What the Vicky?" Whoa! I was like flabbergasted. I just love that word. I was flabbergasted looking at that thing, and I try to film a bit, but I have to be discreet because it's in a facility and there's this patient confidentiality. You're not supposed to film anyone. You're not supposed to say they're here or just all that.
This was an unmissable moment, and so this video comes through to me. It's okay to swear on this podcast, I think.
Oh, cool.
It was your voice. You film. There's a well-known French singer who's a blind man, and you just go, "Wait, Vicky." You go, "What were the chances?" What the fuck, Vicky? Fuck.
Yes, that's exactly the words. That's verbatim the words I used. Yes, and the blind guy is Gilbert Montagnier, Gilbert Montagnier, basically, and he's the French blind singer.
So that was you don't own a TV. Now, this is what happened. I'm going to try remember what order things happened in. Interject, because I don't know what point you went to your Lark Street, as it was called, and there was another bird involved. Now, my housemate came home then, and we endeavoured to get they're called flat flies. They're a type of wingless fly. That makes them even more freaky. I always thought a fly without wings was called a walk. Old joke.
I didn't know flies without wings existed. I knew there were snails without shells. They're just slugs.
So these, we managed to get them off the bird. The pliers didn't touch the bird, but the pliers just caught these insects running around. And Johnny was amazing, and he managed to. There were 6 in total. There was one on the couch. It wouldn't hoover up. I couldn't hoover it up. The Dyson wouldn't hoover it. It was so embedded onto the soft grey throat on the couch. And we've got that on video. It's like I'm screaming trying to hoover it, and I can't get it up. Anyway, Johnny got the pliers, picked them up and put them in a bucket of disinfectant, and after about 10 seconds they stopped kicking the legs and the bird was parasite free, which was wonderful. The bird was feeding, the bird was strong because it was moving in my hand and I could hardly keep hold of it. It was pushing my fingers apart in my hand. So all is calm for a little bit. When do you go to Lark Street?
Oh, well, right after that, it was, I had been there for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and the visits are only 1 hour long. So 45 minutes later, I was leaving. But I set myself like a 10 kilometer, that would be a 6 mile radius. So I had quite a distance to get to my point.
The Lark Street where the pin took you to?
That was quite crazy because it took me to... precisely, it took me to a house. It was closed, of course, because it was Sunday, but it was a house or a home, a daycare thing for autistic people at the Lark Street. That would be Rue de l'Alouette. There's Alouette gentille, alouette is well known in France. That's a bird, and so I see this thing. I'm thinking, okay, it's a house for autistic people. So there's a perception aspect to the whole thing. On the left of that house, there were chickens. So I didn't think much of that, but I'm thinking, yeah, that's bird enough for me.
That's bird enough.
Yeah. I mean, it has feathers, so that's good enough. It lays eggs, and so I'm thinking, yeah, that's cool enough. So I see a neighbor. There was a guy gardening, and I say, oh hi. I'd say, yeah, we're using this app called Randonautica, and I'm selling the thing as usual. We talk for a bit, and I leave, and I stumbled upon another housing projects that was called by another bird name. So that's for the second trip. That's my interaction on the second trip with the bird life.
Okay. So you had owls, you had street birds. I had the crow, the sentient crow at the beginning. I had the house martin. And then after it had all calmed down and I wasn't quite so shaken up, we then decided to drop another point and we changed the question ever so slightly.
Yes. And for that one, that was Randonautica. Are you sentient?
Yes, I was going to build it up with a drum roll. I don't have a drum. Yeah, the next question was, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much. Not are you sentient, but are you the sentience?
Exactly.
Are you it? Are you it?
Are you absolute void of form knowledge? Are you the cloud, basically? The quantum apple cloud without being apple.
Do you know, I love it. I saw the other day, this is not to do with Randonautica, but it's basically, it's not the cloud, it's just someone else's computer.
Okay. To ponder.
Okay, now I've just got goosebumps thinking about that question. Are you the sentience? Now, I can't remember what happened to you at this point. I was a little self-absorbed by this point of the day. And it took me to the entrance to a camping holiday site over here. And it was right just behind where we live. And the only remarkable thing about it, I would have never, ever picked up had you not said it, was that it's like multiple entrance to house, caravan park, footpath. And there were around it five closed gates.
Yes. And those... But that was just so poetic at that point. Because just to recap, that point we are talking about, Rando, are you sentient, was my second point that I just described.
What was your result for are you the sentient? Are you the cloud, Rando? Do we need to upgrade our storage?
Basically, just upgrade. But my Alouette Street with the autistic people and everything, that was mine. That was my second point.
Okay, right. Okay. Yes. Now, this is... Yeah. I haven't had much time to ponder that. So it took you to autistic house, it took you to chickens, and it took you to lark. Are you the sentient? Wow, that's so cool, isn't it?
It is very, very cool. And it just set this bird theme. It's just stronger. It was like brick by brick. It's like we have Legos, and you don't know what the Legos are going to be at first. You just have random Legos, and you just assemble them with your eyes closed. And more it goes, you realize you're starting to build a bird. And this bird... What a
lovely way of putting it. We built a Lego bird throughout the day, and oh wow, I really, really like that. I wonder if there's a Lego bird thumbnail that we could steal off somebody's off Google Images somewhere.
Certainly.
Now, I didn't get why there were five closed gates. Why the five closed gates?
And those five closed gates, it's the first thing that popped in my mind. In fact, those five closed gates are the five senses of Randonautica. All the
senses. Wow.
Those 5 gates, closed gates, were Randonautica's 5 closed senses. So I was thinking, and plus the first gate you showed me, even on the video. Because
it's like a bloody eye, not an eye with blood. It is like a freaking eye.
Yes, and it was beautiful too. And it really like it can't be anything else than an eye. It was just really, really good. You see it, you know it's an eye. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's an eye. So it connects to the senses, 5 senses, and then it just popped in there. Maybe Randonautica is the 6th sense.
Yes. Okay, now this is where it gets really good. We'd like to just have a little message from our sponsors yet. We don't have any sponsors yet, but we're anticipating big things of this Tangonauts podcast, so get in early and sponsor us. Who would your dream sponsor be, Terry? You like
we already talked about Dyson and Lego, so...
Oh, yeah, they're both plastic rubbish, though. Not rubbish, I didn't mean that. Dysons can be unreliable, and Lego, I'm not sure about Lego. We need something more... who would I like to sponsor me?
Biking equipment. Anything has to do with biking equipment and clean randonauting.
That would be so amazing. I really need an electric bike because basically my fatigued little legs have just given up the ghost on the bikes and I can't really get out. So a giant electro bike would be fantastic for me, and some kind of carbon fiber hyper racing lightweight amazing machine for Monsieur.
That would be good because my bike is quite heavy, but it makes you strong, but it's quite heavy.
It makes your thighs big in hot pants.
I struggle to go through doors.
Okay, thank you. And there ends the message from our sponsors. Our retrofitted our retroactive sponsors.
Thank you, guys.
They're somewhere in the ether right now, and about 2 months down the line, listening to this and going, well, there's a ripple that was set forward in the past, and now it's affecting the future, which is now affecting the past.
Exactly. Oh, I love the way you seg. The way?
The way.
Yeah.
Okay, that was great. So, okay. Now, I can't remember at what point this revelation came to us, but we were like, well, it's taken us to birds all day, and I've had some quite harrowing bird experiences. And the gist of what we were getting is the birds are everywhere. Birds see everything.
Yes. And what we concluded from that is that maybe Randonautica is in cahoots with the birds. They are working in synchronicity, in symbiosis in a way, maybe.
Beautiful.
And the birds can go everywhere. A bird, think about it, like a little tweet bird. I don't know how you call them, but picture the tweet bird. It can go to any place in the world. It can get in ventilation systems. I'm sure that a bird can land in Area 51 and nobody's going to say anything.
Get those birds out of here. They're landing back to the Randonautica app. It's the birds with their all-seeing eyes. The little bastards are everywhere. They know the colour of your underwear. Randonautica will never fail, yeah. And the birds even know when you touch your genitalia.
Yeah, oh no. It's Joshua spying on us again. It's like birds can go everywhere. They fly. They have a bird's eye view.
We are not at any point here saying that the birds are Randonautica foot soldiers. What I suspect is that they are just feeding it unknowingly round. They are the eyes and feeding it background into the collective consciousness that is mentioned so often in Randonautica. We think maybe all animal life is anything with eyes is doing it, but we think that at the minute the birds are the smoking gun.
Exactly. At that point, if we take the questions that we were asking and the answers or clues, might I say, that we were given, it only makes sense that we would deduce that it's the birds. It's just the logical conclusion.
It makes beautiful, beautiful sense. Although when I was chatting with Orban yesterday, I hadn't explained all this. Auburn, if you're listening, what a beautiful phone call we had yesterday. It was really, really nice. But you said if we'd have found squirrels, it would have been squirrels. But it was just so conducively, birds seem to be the answer for us.
Yes. Plus, if my memory is correct, this was that in that conversation you had with Auburn yesterday. It was just after you told her that I had been shot on by a bird.
Yes. So yeah, well, yes. So yeah, that's you were. So on your amazing white top. So we concluded that. Now, I went home that evening. I was a bundle of nerves at this point, and I don't own a TV. I don't watch TV. Bear in mind, you had seen a What the Fuck Owl earlier on TV that day, and I saw around, I'm going to say not even 10 seconds of TV that evening. And it happened so briefly that I didn't even have time to figure out what it meant. The housemate was watching a wildlife program or a farming program, Country File. And I glanced at the TV, and the precise moment I looked at the TV, the only TV I'd watched for days and days and days, because I do not switch the TV on, and my housemate had been away. Well, there's only one thing that was going to be on the TV, wasn't there? I'm not even going to say any more about what I saw, but there was only one thing that I did see, and it was. And at that point, things started to get really, really... Oh, what else happened that day? I found a letter T on the couch.
Yes, I remember that. I don't have the details.
I found a perfect Times New Roman little wooden T, maybe about 3 centimetres tall, just fell out of my laundry, and I've got no idea where it came from. It's a very unusual letter T, but of course, we won't reveal the name of the monsieur, except it might just begin with the letter T, and T is also for Tangonauts.
Exactly, yes. Double T.
Double
it was
T.
To the T, as they say.
And we had, now this is where the disclaimer starts to come now, Randonauts. We fucked around and we made what I thought at the time was a very happy-go-lucky little, I don't even like saying the words. I didn't even know it was at the time. I thought it was just some drawings and a little jar of water. We made an altar, didn't we?
Yes. It's practically a sigil.
Oh, what? Sorry?
A sigil is a form of writing magic. You take out the vowels, double consonants, and you form a shape around it. It's a bit complicated, but very simple at the same time.
Yeah.
And yes, would you like me to explain briefly the experiment?
No. Do you know what? I'm not going to go into detail on this one because we're coming up to an hour. We just put love and hope and happiness and joy on a sealed envelope and done some intents for the future. I had gone over that evening to, this is after all, hang on, water. One moment.
Hydration is the key of pureness.
Yeah. So I was hovering over my little altar. At the point, I didn't know it was an altar at the time. Don't make altars with Randonautica. Seriously, just don't do it. And as I was holding this letter T over the altar, the TV said your name and talked about something else we'd been talking about. And as I was messaging you to tell you that the TV was talking, it then started to talk about birds straight away. And that is when the Randonautica echo chamber, the snake started eating its tail, and I realised that I was caught inside some kind of runaway, I don't know, snake eating its tail effect. And that's when I started to get really, really scared, because I realised we'd pushed Randonautica to its limits and we'd gone too far. And it was a couple of days later when you said, "Oh, Vicky, you do know that the TV talking to you is a symptom of schizophrenia, yeah?"
Yes, it is. Well, may I correct a bit my sentence? It is something you will also find in the symptoms of schizophrenia.
Okay.
Yes. I will not say it is schizophrenia, because that's a whole different thing. It's huge. I mean, it's huge.
I Googled it and I'm good. It's just that I realised that But the thing is, other people could hear it as well. It wasn't just me imagining it. It was actually happening in the room to other people. And at this point, this is when I thought, oh, Randonautica's climbed out of the app and is now in my life.
Like a jack in a box.
Yeah.
Just up there, and now it's out. And how do you put the toothpaste back in the tube?
Do you know what I do? I tend to just lick the toothpaste off the sink.
I like your style.
So we're coming up to our hour now. I want you to go deep into the theory of the retrofitted fear, retroactive fear, because let me just preempt this now. I know I've led a lot on this podcast because it was mainly the shit that happened to me. Your day was relatively straightforward compared to my Jack in the Box with a big scary owl on the other end of it. But it turns out as our relationship has evolved, you are deep into... Actually, this will happen in the same kind of timeline that people will be introduced to me and you. I'm the one who does a lot of talking and a lot of asking questions, but... After a couple of weeks of knowing the Monsieur, it turns out this guy seriously is into his time travel and theory. And I'm just going to let you hold the floor now for the next 5 minutes. Off you go.
Okay. So this will be a bit of a spoiler for the end of a 4-part series video that I am currently working on. I'm working on the 4th part right now. And it all started with a tweet from Joshua Langford. In this tweet, he said that basically... that it has to do with attractor points, you going to the attractor points and the future that can affect the past. So I twisted my mind for days and days just trying to figure this thing out. How does it work exactly? How can the future affect the past? So I thought, okay, I can't figure out how, but I can figure out what goes around when that happens. So I'm thinking, okay, if the future can affect the past, basically the past of the future would be the present. So the future can affect the past. That means, the future can affect the present, meaning the present can affect the past. But at the same time, in the past, we've made decisions that led us to this point in the present. And what we're going through now will define what we're going to do in the future. But if the future is affecting the present and the past at the same time, and the past is affecting the present, and obviously it shapes our decisions for the future, it's like a triple thing, meaning there's always 2 versions of yourself, one on the left, so to speak, and one on the right, just for comprehension matters. There's one on the left, one on the right, one in the past, you in the present, and another one in the future. That means you're never alone. There's always 2 of you by your side. And that's a beautiful image when you think about it like that.
Yeah, because I would definitely have a threesome with myself.
Oh, definitely. I would definitely have a foursome with you. And so or a sixsome. So there's always...
Oh, we have that time machine.
Oh yeah, we should definitely try that off the air. And so I'm thinking there's all of this going on. And there being you and 2 versions could be like a metaphysical, terrestrial, very, very physical at the same time representation of that Holy Trinity thing. There's always 3, and 3 is such a important number. Like, just take a triangle. It's something you have to be careful of. Just look at road signs. Every time you see a triangle, it's, oh, be careful. And it's the universal symbol of SOS. If you're like in a desert, you take stones, form a pyramid, form a triangle, and I was going to say a bird, a plane that flies above your head will see that triangle and know you're in distress. It's universally, well, at least in a great deal of societies, considered something that, pay attention to that.
Wow. So we've got about 2 minutes left. Could you just talk about how the retroactive fear might have amplified itself down? Because really what we're trying to get to, Maybe we should leave this for the next podcast, or maybe we should give it resolution now. I'm a little sketchy on what I learned about this, but basically what we've come to the conclusion of is that my subconscious fears and the very dense questions that we were asking of Randonautica and the very intense way that we were playing just kind of spiraled, amplified, magnified. And yeah, it's not good, kids, to go divining with Randonautica. Don't ask it big questions because I don't know whether it likes it.
I would suggest, I like to think that Randonautica very much likes it, but it can be too much. It can be too much for if your mind isn't prepared to go to those lengths. I mean, what we've been doing basically is like going down the rabbit hole with shovels and digging at the bottom of the rabbit hole. We've been trying to go deeper than we could take. The pressure was too much. I mean, even those Russian guys who dug like 8 miles down, something like that, we were like at that level or something. It was really intense. It's a bit too much. You got to go step by step and just, it's cool to find a heart, find a unicorn, just enjoy the little moment, the little spark of magic that when you find it, you're like, okay, this is real. I found it. This is good. That's enough. It's enough
now,
to just appreciate.
There's a sour twist at the end of the tale.
Yes.
That I still can't get to grips with. The little bird that was so strong and feisty died in the night, and I can't get my head around what the hell that is supposed to mean.
To me, that had quite a big deal of meaning, in fact. It was like Randonautica had, if we take all the elements, the first thing I stumbled upon, it was the cats, basically, that really went into the animal kingdom. It was the cats. So that basically is a bird's predator. It's what can hurt birds. And you find a hurt bird. It maybe fell out the nest. It could have had internal bleeding and it had those parasites on him. And you tried to help him real bad. It was like you did efforts. Johnny was there. And you fed him, you nourished him, you took care of him. And did you just say what happened to the bird?
Yeah, it popped its very small clogs.
Yes. The bird died, yeah. And with all the birds that we had seen, all the meanings and what we could think about it, it was like saying, hey, okay, it's as if Rando was saying, I know what you're doing the good thing. You won't always be able to save the birds. You won't always, there won't always be a happy conclusion, but you're doing the right thing here. You each have an owl. Each of you have your owl today on a TV. What were the odds for us both having an owl on a television that we basically, I don't own a television, you never watch it. We both had our owls. To me, it was like Rando saying, hey, I know you're doing the right thing. You have your owl, but you can't win all the time. And look, the cats are bird predators. That bird had predators on him. I mean, parasites and everything. And we were doing, in my heart, we were doing the right thing. And you just can't win all the time.
Yes. And on that bombshell, we'll give you a taster for the next episode of Tangonauts. It's going to be about the fact that I've been terrorized by owls in the past couple of days. And the fact I'm feeling much better now. So life is starting to get good again. I'm not as scared as owls as I was this time a couple of days ago. And it's been a pleasure broadcasting with you. I think we'll do another one of these in a couple of nights, yeah?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, Vicky.
And you hate people saying this, but what does HITSUBSCRIB spell?
Oh, hit subscribe.
Yes, he said it. He hates saying it.
I never say it. I never say it, people. And on my channel, I never say it because that I know that if somebody does hit subscribe, it's that I have earned it.
That's so cute, but I want to just feel cheap and dirty. Even if you didn't like the podcast, hit subscribe. I'm sure you loved it. Thank you. We have been the Monsieur and the Duncalf, Tangonaut-Twins, Team Tangonauts. And what's the end bit that you sign off with? When you're under nose.
And Rand only knows where all of this will go.
Lots of love from the Tangonauts. Randonauts safe, everybody, and very, very mindfully. See you soon.
Bye.
This file had better save now. I'm not going to relive this all again. And when I press this off button, this had better work.
It will.
Okay, adieu.
Au revoir, mesdames.
Tangonauts. Woohoo! The happy podcast for people who love Randonautica. Come together, yeah. Please give us a share. This podcast is in no way affiliated with the amazing team at Randonautica. We're just two people who love Randonautica very much. And if you love Rando, please consider going pro or even just buying a couple of owl tokens. And finally, please be so careful when you randonaut. Don't rev up its power. Weird stuff happens. Namely, a lot of owls. Until next time. I went in the lounge after recording this, and guess what was on the telly?
Is there no thinking without the use of language?